Well, hello everyone. It is the middle of February 2026, and we are reviewing a video of an Abrams from December of 2025, so a few months ago. This is an Australian M1A1 Abrams that was given to Ukraine that we're going to be watching, so you'll see the Australian camouflage pattern on that. I'm going to give a little bit more context as to what is going on, how tanks are supposed to fight, how tanks are fighting. And the traditional how tanks are supposed to fight is a constantly evolving thing. It's kind of a how do American and Western forces fight versus how do Ukrainian forces fight, because we're manned, we're staffed, we're equipped differently. We have different echelons of support. There's a lot of differences between the two, so it's not exactly comparing apples to apples. So without further ado, let's get into this. Special thanks to United 24 for capturing this. This is available on YouTube. I'll link the original video down below so you don't have to listen to my blethering, loquacious content with me starting and stopping and giving you an aneurysm. If you want to watch it completely uninterrupted, go ahead. So let's go ahead and get started here. Right here, first scene. We are looking over the front slope of the Abrams. We can see that this is add-on armor. This is not usually on the Abrams. You can see that camouflage pattern right here. This is the thermal shroud. You've got the bore evacuator right here, the muzzle reference sensor. You've got the driver's headlights up here. You can see the additional armor even in front of the front slope here to protect the tank. This does not have the depleted uranium armor package. This is a export variant of the M1A1.
December 2025, Pokrovsk. An Abrams, as a part of a large column, fires on enemy positions. At the same time, drones and artillery suppress the enemy.
This is not from the interior of the Abrams. This is a artillery piece.
And APCs deploy Ukrainian infantry. An incredibly daring AFU operation begins. But let's step back a bit and break this down in more detail. To better understand this situation, we need to look at the map. The Ukrainian column is moving along this road. The main objective is to deploy infantry in this area and secure it. If we look closely, we can see that this industrial zone is incredibly important. There are many buildings, basements, and warehouses here. If the Russians...
Quick pause. You're not going to see something similar as what we would do during GWAT or the Global War on Terrorism, where you would go ahead and have a friendly force go ahead and establish an outer cordon, an inner cordon, and start doing your enter and clear of buildings, your battle drill 6. That just doesn't, it can't by nature of the front line happen here, because this is all an unknown they're moving into. They're going to have to fight for every structure. Let me also break down the way that Abrams generally are going to operate. Usually you will have more than one Abrams. You'll have, you roll out in a section or a platoon. A section is 2 tanks, platoon is 4 tanks. So you've got your Alpha and Bravo sections, and they will roll out together. You can do operations like this, which you're going to see, where you have 1 Abrams and mechanized or motorized elements that you're protecting. This is an example of something that you may see in a QRF, a quick reaction force, where you have a Abrams and a Bradley rolling out to go support with a bunch of grunts in the back. It's completely modular. You can build it for whatever scenario it is. When it comes to direct war fighting, some of the traditional handbook and the way of fighting kind of goes out the window. But traditionally, we would be staffed with a section of tanks rolling out to have mutually supporting assets in sector and theater, so you can do like vehicle recovery. However, due to the drone threat and not having the jammers or the direct energy or the point defense or whatever it is, that can prove complicated when it comes to vehicle recovery, which you will see later.
Capture it. AFU soldiers will find themselves in a very bad position. And the Ukrainians understand this. A week earlier, the Russians carried out several large...
The BTR, T-70 something.
And it happened right here. A column of tanks and APCs moved in for an assault along the road next to the tree line. Another group of soldiers prepared to attack on quad bikes. But in this case, the Ukrainians were one step ahead. Drones and artillery were ready.
And this is something that's also unique as well, is there is real-time Overwatch, instantaneous feedback. So the fog of war is inside of buildings more than it is in the exterior of things. It is something that we previously did not have to experience, and there's something that Western forces didn't have to build tactics around. We could use cover concealment, we could use obscuration, we could, there were different methodologies to mask our approach. We could use nighttime because we're facing limited night capable foes. Now we've got FLIR capable drones overwatching the entire battle space.
The column approaches. Let's take a look at how it looked from the cameras of Russian soldiers. They are riding on the top of the armor, unsuspecting. A heavy machine gun fires into the tree line. The first drone locks onto the rear of one of the APCs and strikes.
No telling if this is fiber optic, no telling if there's actual jammers. It doesn't look like there's jammers on that vehicle.
We can feel the impact through the screen. A Russian soldier falls to the ground, trying to recover.
More students are turning to UA Little Rock because we're leading the way in making college affordable.
More than a dozen drones launch toward the column. Ukrainian drone operators carefully select their targets. Meanwhile, the Russian APC is forced to stop, and the infantry dismount to take cover in the trees. The movement is very chaotic. Apparently, they do not understand what to do. And then, the next...
So the Russians don't have a traditional NCO corps. They don't have professional sergeants that understand and conceptualize mechanized maneuver warfare. It basically may be, well, this guy has been in unit for one and a half years. Maybe he understands, he can drive. We teach him to drive a couple times, and off he goes. They are taught very little outside of having their platoon leader, which is their lieutenant. He actually fights the platoon. That's why the Russian platoons are staffed, usually traditionally, with 3 tanks versus 4, because it is a smaller element for that one lieutenant, the one most experienced guy, to be able to maneuver.
Drone arrives. The pilot makes a drop. The munition lands directly on the APC. The soldiers try to find any kind of cover, but nothing works.
They have been fighting for a while, so they are developing their own TTPs. They're not nearly as much of a mess as they used to be, but...
At the same time, bomber drones join the attack. One of them hovers over the enemy and makes a drop. The munition lands nearby. An infantryman tries to get up after the blast and reports that he is wounded, but he does not yet know that there is no one left to report to. At the same time, other bomber drones destroy the APC. Let's take a look at that again.
They got to it before the tank could.
Several precise drops turn an instrument of killing into a pile of metal. Concurrently, artillery opens fire on concentrations of motorcycles and quad bikes. First, a cluster munition is fired. It completely covers the enemy.
Abrams could have absolutely decimated that with coax and 50. And can. Canister round. M1028.
After that, the drones attack.
Да.
The enemy is destroyed. The remaining drones are used to finish off.
I have my opinions on drones.
First, a tank is destroyed. then 2 APCs. Next, through the drone's camera, we can see the result of thorough preparation. The entire column is completely destroyed. Quad bikes, motorcycles, and armored vehicles are engulfed in flames. Such preparation, and only a single use of an Abrams in the attack I'm about to show, indicates only one thing. This industrial zone has extremely high strategic value, and the AFU are ready to fight for every millimeter of their land. They are fighting under very difficult conditions. Such courage and bravery deserves your support. Now, while the enemy had not yet recovered from the rout, it was necessary to act immediately. The task assigned to the Scala Battalion sounded almost impossible. Move along an open road, break into urban development, and drive the enemy out of fortified buildings. The Abrams is not designed for combat in such conditions, so additional armor was installed on it.
It is wild to see all the contact one these guys have put all over this thing.
Reconnaissance drones conducted round-the-clock surveillance to determine where enemy firing positions and mines were located. And now, the time has come. Under the cover of fog, a Ukrainian column moves out.
Okay, so you've got shrapnel protection. I'm not sure if this has thermal mitigation capabilities for the road wheels to obscure it from thermals, but you can see that there is standoff camouflage all over this thing, or standoff spikes to prevent a drone from hitting the side skirt and going into the juicy bits inside. You can see there's contact one all over the front here. There's that extra panel up here. You've got on the turret cheeks, contact one all over here, contact one all over the sponson box. You've got this bushy net. I'm not sure how well the optics can see through that. Hopefully pretty well. I'm sure these guys are not stupid, so I'm sure they left a window to be able to look out of the doghouse and identify targets, doghouses. Right over here. That's the dual axis head assembly. That's where the gunner's primary sight lives. For the gunner.
A tank with a mine-clearing trawl leads the way. Immediately behind it comes an Abrams and several APCs carrying infantry.
Gotta do route clearance. So important.
Several dozen drones are also ready to strike.
It's a big boy. It's a girthy one.
The tactic is simple and bold. The Abrams stays out front. Its task is to be a big, loud, and intimidating target. It draws fire onto itself, diverting the enemy's attention away from the infantry. Here, we see
with fire comes the need to maneuver. Fire and maneuver.
Clearing trawl performs its primary mission. Pay attention to how many
continuously scan.
Along the way.
Don't just sit there.
From the first detonation, only a couple hundred meters remain before entering the city. Another mine meets the Ukrainian column.
Oof, they felt that.
This is it here. Now all the obstacles are cleared, and the column bursts into the city. Of course, the Russians came to their senses. They launched their drones into the air, and the infantry begins moving to more advantageous positions.
So I'm not sure what kind of jammers are available to the Ukrainians, but jammers can definitely stop drones.
The Abrams moves a bit further forward. Let's pause at this moment. Here, there is a gas station. The first part of the plan is to deploy infantry near it and clear the area. At the same time, the Abrams must draw all attention to itself and provide cover with its high explosive shell.
So this can be kind of tricky right here. You want to have alternating sectors of fire to get you as close to 360-degree security as you possibly can when you're on the halt and even while you're on the move. So with the Abrams having that massive sector of fire, it's going to make it very difficult for it to identify anything. If it's, generally you want to take different slices out of the pie. So the Abrams would have, one sector of fire, the vehicle behind it would have the other sector of fire, and they would be continuously scanning. But then again, the largest threat for vehicles out there is going to be the drones. And the drones, like I have mentioned ad nauseum, I'm not sure what kind of jamming capabilities or electronic warfare capabilities are currently present in these vehicles, what their jamming bubble looks like, and that would be very difficult information to get, and especially to release anyway. So that's out there.
Everything goes exactly according to plan. The infantry dismount and begin the assault. They must act swiftly. Their lives depend on it. At the gas station, they encounter the enemy and eliminate them.
I want to know, have you made this mistake with your holster? And by mistake, I mean, did you get a holster that's uncomfortable so you don't carry all the time?
Забаранили. Прием. 200.
And the Abrams methodically dismantles their fortifications. Inside the tank, work is in full swing.
I'm going to go back real quick just to look inside the gunner's hole.
Their fortifications. Inside.
Let's pause right here. You can see that they've replaced some of the symbology here with stuff that's in Ukrainian. This is your hydraulic pressure gauge. You've got your gunner's auxiliary sight. You've got the 240 machine gun over here for your coax solenoid. This is the side of your breech. This is your gunner's brow pad. So the gunner poked their head in there. I believe the Australian one has the fishbowl, also known as the BIOC, the binocular sight. And then the rest of this stuff is really not important to anybody who's not operating an Abrams.
The tank, work is in full swing. The crew operates as a...
There's the 50 cal sight.
The loader rams shell after shell into the breach. At this moment, the Abrams takes its first drone hit while performing its main task. But take a look at the crew's reaction inside. They don't even realize they've been hit. Reconnaissance detects the movement of Russian soldiers. They run to the nearest cover.
There's no telling if that footage was actually from the battle, so take that for what it is.
Ukrainian pilots react instantly to the threat and launch drones into the air.
Like, most of this could just be B-roll.
For a strike.
I'm sure some of it isn't.
The threat has been eliminated. At headquarters, the work of the infantry is constantly adjusted.
Yeah, 300 is wounded, cargo 200, or 200 is they're dead.
But where is the Abrams? We see all of the infantry shifting positions.
Dude moved.
Has disappeared.
Yeah.
Panic begins at headquarters. No one understands where it went. Meanwhile, the Abrams, in order to provide maximum security for the assault group, has moved even deeper forward. Taking advantage of this, Ukrainian infantry safely moves from...
So it's out there by itself. It does not look like it has a supporting asset.
But they are not the only ones taking advantage of it. Russian drones are already flying towards their main target. And here it is, another precise hit on the Abrams. Let's watch that again. The crew fires off the remaining ammunition and abandons the immobilized tank to save their lives. The Abrams itself is left to be torn apart by enemy drones.
Loader's hatch is open.
Difficult situations, Ukrainian officers show time and time again.
Not an Abrams.
Lives are more important than even such special weapons as an Abrams tank.
So if you notice there, that 50 was removed. This is not an Abrams.
Time and time again, that human lives are more important than even such special...
There we go. So we've got the TCs and the loader's hatch open. We've got the 50 is missing.
Weapons.
It's really all we can ascertain from the loader's 240 has been like completely removed. There's the loader's 240 mount is not even on the skate ring. So, okay.
As an Abrams tank.
And there we go. There is a side view of that. You can see all the contact one on the turret cheek right there. It's can't really tell what knocked this tank out. Can't really tell if it like blew track or what happened.
At the same time, Ukrainian command orders the remaining vehicles to withdraw. Mission accomplished. The area has been cleared. The infantry have secured their positions. The AFU gained a favorable sector for force buildup, and the Russians gained yet another topic for their...
Okay, so that's a breakdown of what that was. Again, the Abrams is operating relatively by itself. It pushed all the way forward to their demise, I suppose. But then again, there was not probably jamming. There sure as hell isn't a SHORAD solution, which is a short-range air defense solution that can knock those drones out. A shotgun with a net like that is going to be impossible to hit anything, and the loader's job is to feed the main gun, to feed the beast, make sure the machine guns work the radios, not to be outside the hatch farting around with a shotgun. So that's another thing. Are tanks going to be completely vulnerable for the foreseeable future? No. There's a lot of technologies out there that are scrambling to get contracts for point defense. They're in the M1A1 Abrams, like I put in my other previous video where I was out at the Detroit Auto Show talking with the engineers or the nerds on site there from, I don't know if they were PM Abrams folks. They were Army people. That is paramount in the next generation Abrams, and I'm sure many other equipment manufacturers, Rheinmetall, Elbit Systems, or Elbit, however the hell you say their name, are looking into that technology as well, where they can defeat drones with point defense weapons like 240 or 7.62, 50 caliber, something like that. So that technology is, especially utilizing AI and open architecture and all the cool buzzwords, is just right around the corner. So stay tuned. Appreciate you guys being here.